Hi, welcome back. The second part of our series that we're going to talk about is the hamstring. So one of the things that most people don't consider when they stretch, they typically hold their leg in one direction, stretch their chest forward, feel a stretch in that hamstring, and that's kind of basically it. So one of the things that many people don't consider or take into account is when, like we talked about with the calf, when your foot hits the ground, there's a lot of motion that occurs at the foot where it's sometimes in a flat position, sometimes it's in an arched position, sometimes it's in an up position, sometimes it's pointing down. Well, when that happens at the foot, it causes a reaction at your tibia, which also affects your femur, which also affects your pelvis. So when we're running, when we're doing activities, when we're moving, there's rotation that occurs at our thigh bone. There's also some side to side motion, and there's also some forward and back motion. What that creates is movement at your pelvis. So mostly when we run, we're going to see our pelvis kind of rock side to side a little bit in a little bit of rotational fashion. You're also going to feel a little bit of rocking side to side motion at the pelvis, and there's also going to be some tilting and backward tilting at the pelvis. So how that affects the hamstring is that the hamstring needs to work to kind of decelerate all those motions. So when we're kind of stretching and kind of mobilizing just in one direction, we don't take into account all those other movements that occur at your hip, your pelvis, your knee, your foot, which the hamstring is one of the muscles responsible for decelerating and slowing that down. So one of the things I want to review with you today is, well then how do we stretch the hamstring with all those events occurring at our foot, our lower leg, our upper leg, and our pelvis. So we're going to take you through a series of stretches where it shows you the pelvis moving. It's also going to show you the thigh moving. It's also going to show you the lower leg moving. And what you'll feel is that as we change some of these positions of your leg, your pelvis, your lower body, you're going to feel the stretch change. And the goal is to identify where in these motions, when my pelvis moves a certain way, when my leg moves a certain way, am I tighter in some of these directions than I am some of the other motions. And what you'll feel is most likely is that some of these positions you're going to feel a lot tighter in other positions you're going to feel a lot looser in, where it'll move a lot easier. So the problem is when you have these tight motions, with these movements, what you're going to feel is that when your body actually does these motions, the body will tighten up, and that's when you're more likely to kind of hurt yourself. So very rarely is it just in one direction. It's usually in the direction that you kind of find your weak link. So we'll go through, we'll kind of identify, try all these stretches, and then help to identify which area that you're kind of most tight in. And those are the areas you want to work in, and also you want to work on the other areas too, so they don't become a tight position. And if you have any hamstring problems, that can cause knee pain, back pain, hip pain. It also can contribute to foot pain. And if you do experience any of those problems and kind of want to get it checked out to kind of find out why, give me a call, shoot me an email, and we can kind of work to get that set up and kind of get you back running and playing sports and moving pain-free. If you have any questions, let me know, and check back next week where we'll kind of switch to the other side and work on the quad and the hip flexor. Enjoy the video, try them out, and see how they feel.
For the first part of the stretch, place your legs straight on top of a chair. Keep your legs straight and slowly bring your chest forward. You'll feel a big stretch kind of behind your knee and kind of into your calf. Keep your toe pointed straight up in the air. To change the stretch a little bit, slightly bend your knee about 15 to 20 degrees, and as you stretch forward, you're going to feel that stretch a little higher up in your hamstring, closer to kind of where your hip is. Straighten your legs, stretch forward, and hold the leg straight as you kind of point your toes down and up. As you change these positions, you'll notice the stretch will change. Straighten your legs, stretch forward till you feel a stretch, and slowly rotate your leg out and then in. You're going to rotate out and in slowly and feel the stretch change to the outside of the thigh and to the inside of the thigh. Slowly stretch forward. While you're holding that stretch position, swing your hips to the right and to the left. You're going to feel the stretch change as you move in those different directions. Try to find your tight area and work in that range to kind of increase that mobility. Next part, turn your shoulders to the left. Bring your right shoulder to your right knee. You'll feel the stretch on the inner thigh. The next part of it is you're going to turn your shoulders to the right. bring your chest forward and across your body. The point of all these stretches is to show that when you change your pelvis position, your hip position, your ankle, your foot, that the stretch will change, which is what happens when you run and during sporting activities. I hope you enjoyed these stretches and kind of felt the changes as your body changed position. Check back next week and we'll cover the quad and the hip flexor. Until then, keep stretching, keep moving.